Hello folks, Plastic Eric here, Plastic Soundwave Cult, here for a Labor Day collection connection. The game is just an excuse to talk about music. It's a game I play with my brother Bryce over in good show Ponsonby. Every Monday I make a video about an album in my collection, and then Bryce will find a connection to that album in his collection, and then talk about that album and the one I did. And then on Monday I will talk about the album he did and connect that to an album in my collection. And we've been doing this for a while now, and so the key to the game is, can you figure out what the connection is? And since nobody was able to guess the correct answer for Bryce's last video, what the connection was, the connection was decade and abacab. Both are only spelled with the notes of the musical scale, A, B, C, D, E, F. I think that's it. Is there a G? I think there is a G. I'm not very musically inclined in that sense, but that's what the connection was. A, B, C, A, or abacab is all musical notes, and the name decade also is all musical notes. Very tough one, I gotta admit, on that one. But nobody was able to guess it. And so the last album that Bryce talked about was Decade by Duran Duran, a compilation album that came out in 1989. I really enjoyed listening to it. Kind of like Bryce, I sort of dismissed Duran Duran early on when we lived in England. Once I got older, I started appreciating their music more. I actually like a couple of songs that didn't make it on this album, but that's because they came out later. It's like they almost totally reinvented themselves after this album. I think it was in 93, Duran Duran, their self-titled album. It's got Undone and Ordinary World, which are probably my two favorite songs from them. Well, almost my favorite songs. My favorite song from them is Save a Prayer. Love that song. That is on the Decade album. All the songs are fantastic. I was surprised how well I was able to memorize the lyrics and all that kind of stuff. It's been a long time since I listened to any Duran Duran. And the fact that Bryce brought it up ended up being really nice. I spent a couple days actually listening to that a few times, just getting reacquainted with it again. And Duran Duran knew how to pump it out. They had some good songs. Except for, like what Bryce says, Wild Boy. That one's a little bit irritating. I was surprised how much I remembered the videos from most of these songs. And Wild Boys, if I remember it right, was like in this studio, but had like all these windmills and ponds and stuff in it, with stuff all flying all over it. And I think I remember, like, at one point, Simon Le Bon is on one of these fans on the windmill and gets dipped into the water as he, and the camera's like right there, so you see him go in the water and everything, and he still keep on singing through the whole song. So it was interesting to go back over that stuff again, kind of in my mind. Every time the song came up, I was able to remember what the video looked like. I even remember when Girls on Film was banned in England, and actually when we first came back to the U.S., there was a channel called USA. I think they're still around, if cable's still a thing. And the USA channel would show videos you can't see on MTV. And Girls on Film used to be one of those videos that they would show. And other than that, it was kind of neat to go down memory lane. But what did I connect that to? And so for some of you, I think this will be a really easy connection. If you don't know that much about Queen, or you don't know that much about Duran Duran, might be a tougher way to make a connection. I'm going to show you the album, and I'm going to tell you what's not the collection. Or the connection, I'm sorry. What's not the connection. Not collection's fine. Connection, what the connections are not. So, the album that I connected it to, Queen, Greatest Hits. Now, you might say, I got it. They're both compilation albums of their greatest hits up to a certain amount of time. And they had other hits after these albums came out. This is true, but that's not the connection. So, sorry to beat you out on that one, Steve. I knew you were thinking about that one, but that's not what it is. And it's not that they're both English. And it's not that they both breathe. That one's for Steve. Okay? Not breathing. Everybody breathes, Steve. And it's not that they're from the planet Earth either. I'm just saying. Trying to help you out on your guess, Steve. But I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to help. That's all. Queen's Greatest Hits. What a fantastic album. I know they made several different renditions of this. There's a Queen 2 Greatest Hits. This is probably right up until the end of the realm that I liked Queen. This is the American version. The way that you can tell right away is that it starts off with Another One Bites the Dust, their best-selling hit in America, followed by Bohemian Rhapsody. If you get the English version of this, it has a different song track, which is something that we talked about in a video a while back, my brother and I, about what songs we would make greatest hits if we had a choice on what it was, and we couldn't use any of these songs from this one or the English one. Now, the irony is that I had the English version when I was a kid. My albums got stolen when I was in college, and I was able to finally pick up an American version of Greatest Hits, because it was interesting to me because it has Under Pressure, I believe, on it. Here, where is it at? We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, Flash, Someone Around You. Under Pressure, last song on the first side. Under Pressure appears on the American version, not on the English version. And one of the ways that I kind of know, as I stick this over here, is that I picked up a newer version that's a double album. That was originally a single album. They made a double album version here not that long ago in 2020 for Target. This is the English track listing for the albums. Definitely a little bit different in the sense that it has all of these wild pictures on the inside, which didn't come with the original one, I don't believe. And it does have it has a much more elaborate thing where it shows the single covers that appear on each album, and comes in a wonderful, what they call ruby glint mix, is what they call this color, which is very nice. It seems to match the album very well to me. But yeah, this is the English track listing on the latest ones that they even put out in America now. But they put it out across 2 discs as opposed to just one as they did before. Same amount of songs, but this one does not include Under Pressure on it, I'm pretty sure. Let me just take a quick peeky weeky. Yes, Under Pressure is not on here. I've checked that several times, but I still got to look because I know you guys will be able to see this. The inner sleeve on this one's a little bit different. As we take it out, I just recently switched to doing these from the top and just taking them out now. Oh, this one doesn't have the original sleeve. That's what it is. It used to be when you got the inner sleeve on these things, it had like a little map of all of the different albums and which songs came from which album. That's right, I bought this one used, and it didn't have that on there. Oh, and it turns out I was right. I just used a blank one. So you can see how here it has the albums. Shows where which songs come from which album. As you can see, this one's a little bit beat up. So to preserve this a little bit better, I put it in, I put the record into a I put the record into a nice inner sleeve, and then so that the record doesn't damage this inner sleeve anymore. Again, the inner sleeves on this one, it's the singles. I'll pull out the other one. So they show the singles, not the album covers. And so it's aesthetically, it's a very different album than the ones that they have out now. The originals were, again, just on the one disc. And so, yeah, Queen's Greatest Hits. I kind of chose the Greatest Hits because it shows the whole band on there. Even though on the... And here's going to be your clue. Even though not everybody appears on the Decade album by Duran Duran. And so hopefully with that, you'll be able to figure out